केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Viewers, very good evening to you. Welcome to News Hour Special Edition. I'm Pratibha Chandran. Has the system failed the students? The NEET UG examination had to be cancelled due to widespread leaks, forcing a massive CBI probe and a June retest. The CBSE has faced multiple issues over its online marking system, and if that wasn't enough, today the CUET examinations also faced multiple technical glitches, leaving several students waiting for hours, some having no information on when the examinations will be reconducted. The Supreme Court of the country has noted the allegations of NEET paper leak and has really summed up the entire issue, saying this is traumatic for lakhs of students, and asking where is the accountability. So the great Indian examination mess is debate number one. Our second debate is on the physical attack on the TMC MP Abhishek Banerjee in Bengal. The TMC claims that it was a murderous attack on him, while the BJP claims that this is public anger. But an elected MP being attacked openly, where was the police? And what's the real story? That's debate number two. But let's begin with focus on the examinations. Viewers, India operates one of the world's largest education systems. It's overseen by central, state and local governments. Crores of students depend on this system for their future. They trust this education system, which is meant to turn their dreams into reality. But the last few weeks have been a very testing time for the credibility of India's education system. The NEET is a stepping stone for lakhs of students who aim for medical admissions in India and abroad. The CBSE examination is the baseline for undergraduate admissions at top universities, and CUET-UG democratizes access to prestigious universities, allowing students from rural and remote areas to compete for top seats without paying multiple expensive application fees. But today, all of these prestigious examinations are facing serious questions, not because the students are unfit, but because of alleged systemic failures.
पहले मेरे को हिमाचल मिला था, फिर जब चेंज करने का ऑप्शन आया तो मेरे को फिर नोएडा मिला। मैंने नोएडा दिल्ली डाला था, उसके बाद नोएडा मिला अब जाके, फिर मेरे को यहाँ आना पड़ा।
अभी जैसे हालात चल रहे हैं हर एक चीज़ के, जैसे नीट का पेपर लीक हुआ और उसके बाद सीबीएसई में जो चेकिंग हुई है 12th की, उसके हिसाब से देख के तो अब हम ये जो मैनेजमेंट का लेके इसे ही क्या ब्लेम करेंगे।
मैं बक्सर से आया हूँ, मैं एग्जाम देने आया। एग्जाम में हम लोग को एंट्री करवाया, बायोमेट्रिक्स हुआ, बैठाया, सब हमारा एडमिट कार्ड अब ले लिया, साइन करवा के ले लिया हमसे, और बोल रहे हैं हमें 10-10 मिनट दिया गया गैप कि 10 मिनट बाद आप एग्जाम स्टार्ट होगा। सर्वर इस हो गया, हमारी एनटीओ वालों से बात हो रही है। फिर हमें बोल दिया गया 11 बजे बोल दिया गया कि आप लोग एग्जाम नहीं होगा, आप लोग जाइए।
And the opposition has picked up the issue. From raising concerns over COEMT, the education system, the Union Education Minister and the Prime Minister, criticism continues to mount. And leading the charge is Rahul Gandhi, who has claimed that Prime Minister himself supervised the NEET paper leak. Joining the attack is Arvind Kejriwal, who has demanded an educated Prime Minister for India.
मजाक बना रखा है, हमें बेवकूफ समझ रखा है। पूरी दुनिया में इतने बड़े बड़े पेपर होते हैं, कहीं सुना है कि एयरफोर्स से उनको ट्रांसपोर्ट किया जाता है? कहीं सुना है इस किस्म की नौटंकी? उनका सिस्टम को ठीक करने का कोई इरादा नहीं है। अगर कोई अच्छी नीयत वाली सरकार होती, वो देखती भी लीकेज कहां से हो रही है और उसको प्लग करती। सिस्टम को बचाने की कोशिश की जा रही है।
एक व्यवस्था की गलती, जिसके लिए कोई जिम्मेवार नहीं, बल्कि मैं तो उल्टा देख रहा हूँ। स्कूलों को अखबारों में आया है कि इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया गया है कि रील बनाइए ओएसएम के फेवर में। कमाल की रीलबाज सरकार है।
Important question is whether NEET paper has been leaked or not. If papers has not been leaked, then you can say that we are trying to politicize it. But this is the fact. It is the incompetence of the government. It is the incompetence of education minister, HR minister. This HRD minister, he should resign. It has not happened first time. Even earlier it has happened.
And facing flack, the Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, in an exclusive conversation with Times Now, has admitted that there were issues in the examination and assuring the students that the government would ensure a secure environment for the retest.
मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे यही कि कहीं ना कहीं चूक तो हुई है, क्योंकि लोगों का जो भरोसा है, स्टूडेंट का जो भरोसा है, वो सिस्टम पर था, वो भरोसा टूटा है। 21 तारीख को वो भरोसा कैसे आप वापस लाएंगे?
देखिए, उसको स्वीकार करने में कोई विरक्ति नहीं है कि जो 3 मई को जो एग्जामिनेशन हुआ उसमें से गड़बड़ी निकली। उसकी क्वेश्चन जो बनी थी, जो बनने की पहले क्वेश्चन जिन लोगों ने बनवाया, जिन शिक्षकों को हमने भरोसा करके दायित्व दिया था कि आप क्वेश्चन बनाओ, जिन ट्रांसलेटर को भी शिक्षक होते हैं जिनको हमने भाषा ट्रांसलेटर को दायित्व दिया, आप उसको भाषा में ट्रांसलेट करो, उस स्तर पे चूक हुई है। सीबीआई उनको तह तक पहुंच रहा है उस इंक्वायरी करके। उस चूक को सुधारने के लिए हमने तत्कालिक निर्णय किया कि हमने एक भी सही विद्यार्थी की हक को, उस बौद्धिक हक को कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करेंगे इन परीक्षा माफियाओं के दबाव के कारण, उनकी व्यवस्था को अपने हाथ लेके तोड़ने की नाकाम प्रयास के कारण। इसलिए तुरंत हम लोगों ने परीक्षा को रद्द किया। दोबारा फिर 21 जून को परीक्षा की तिथि बनाई और हमने उस परीक्षा को पूरा करने के लिए एंड टू एंड प्रश्न पत्र बनाने से लेके परीक्षा होने तक और परीक्षा से फिर एक बार लौट के एंट्री केंद्र तक उनके आंसर शीट आने तक जो प्रक्रिया अपनाया गया था और उसको तंदुरुस्त किया जा रहा है, उसको और फुल प्रूफ किया जाएगा। मैं पूरा जिम्मेदारी के साथ कह रहा हूँ, सरकार इस बार तत्पर है, बिल्कुल दायित्व लिया है इसको एंड टू एंड एकदम निर्भुल करने के लिए।
So there are assurances that are coming in from the government, but the larger questions have still not been answered. Let's open this up. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, joins us on the broadcast. Shana NC, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. Professor Bhadrinarayan, Vice Chancellor of Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and Somnath Bharti, former Minister of Law, Tourism and Culture of Delhi Government, and Anish Gawande, National Spokesperson of the NCP-SP, and Kapil Madan, political analyst. I want to begin with Sanju Verma because there are many questions from the opposition, from the Supreme Court, and more importantly from the students. How many examinations will be disrupted before accountability is fixed? What is happening?
You know, Pratibha, first and foremost, I would like to assure through your platform that meritocracy, transparency, accountability, these are the pillars on which the education system needs to be strengthened upon. And the Modi government is fully committed to ensuring that what has happened, I'm not going to shove the uncomfortable truth under the carpet and say, sab changa si. No, there have been systemic issues. This has been more than just a technical glitch in a few centers. It happened with CBSE, with NEET, and thankfully today, after that hour-long glitch, the CUET exam was finally held at 4 p.m. That said, I think we need to also ensure that stringent laws are in place, because there are two ways of dealing with this. To have the right policy apparatus. Is the right policy apparatus in place? I would like to believe so, because I think by adopting the K. Radhakrishnan Committee recommendations and now taking a decision that come 2027, NEET will be not in OMR format, which is vulnerable to malpractices, but will be a CBT, computer-based test. I think that is a first step and a precursor of better things to come. The second thing, you know, a lot of questions have been raised as to whether the OSM rollout this year in the CBSE examinations was done hastily. So I will just say this, the intent is right. OSM has been put into practice after discussions with various stakeholders, including teachers, principals of various big and small colleges, the AICTE, past members of the UGC, UPSC board members, so on and so forth. So it's not as if the Modi government took a decision one fine day without forging a consensus with stakeholders, you know, who matter.
Okay.
But yet, maybe we should have first tried it on a zonal pilot scheme basis rather than rolling it out nationally. Having said that, I have to say this with a lot of confidence, not arrogance. that Modi government is the only government which actually brought out an education policy at the national level in 2020. The last education policy was way back in 1986. It took 34 long years, but finally a comprehensive NEP 2020 was put into place by the Modi government. A CP format will come into play from 2027.
Okay, but Sanju Verma, you will agree that first it was the NEET examinations that were cancelled, then it was the mess with the CBSE OSM, and then you had the examinations today, and then you also have the education minister going on to say that the IAF would be roped in. There are reels doing the round on the issue of CBSE. So has there been a mess? Have there been some very serious questions raised on the credibility of the education system in the country? And you can't go back from here. Now, you can say in hindsight, it looks like it was a mistake. But in this trial and error, it is the students who are suffering. For them, it's not just another examination for this trial and error. For them, their future depends on this examination.
No, Pratibha, I will not use the word trial and error. When the decision is taken to implement NEET via the CBT format, it is based on the recommendations of former ISRO chairman K. Radhakrishnan. When we decided that we will have enhanced CCTV surveillance, we will have biometric identification. Going forward, we will have encrypted question papers, which will be de-encrypted only a few minutes before the examination starts. These are serious things that are acted upon after due deliberation. There is no room for trial and error when we are dealing with the lives of our youngsters. But I want to say one thing. I have said this fearlessly, and I will say it on your debate also. I always believe that some heads need to roll, and in this case, the NTA perhaps needs an overhauling. Currently, it comes under the ambit of the Cooperative Society Act of 1860. Maybe it needs to be brought under a parliamentary act for greater accountability so that lapses are immediately reined in. I have qualms in admitting that. And yes, for me, the whistleblower in this case, Vedant Srivastav, is not a Pakistani. Vedant Srivastav is one of our own, and I'm glad that students are proactively whistleblowing lapses, because that will ensure the system strengthens going forward. BJP is not like Congress party, which refuses to take cognizance of the problem at hand. I always believe, Pratibha, that the only way to solve an issue is to first acknowledge that there is a problem at hand. Okay. Yes, we will do our best to ensure that what happened in 2026 does not happen going forward.
But there are responses that have come in from the BJP leaders as well, pointing out that in the CBSE, the very same institute was also taken in for the other states like Telangana and Karnataka. But we'll come to that later. Kapil Madan, do you agree with what Sanju Verma is saying, that the first step has been taken, the government has admitted that there are lapses and we're looking into it. So why politicize the issue?
Now, let me begin by saying, with Sanju and with BJP government, it is always like you will have narrative first and evidence later. And let me give you an example. I first thank Sanju because at least on this show, she has acknowledged, yes, there are problems. But let me give you a context how this government actually functions. How many times in parliament you have debated issues related to education? How many times the paper leak is not something which is happening in 2015 or 2016. It is being happening since 2014 regularly, and I can give you the data, facts, figure how many paper leaks have happened, how many times Parliament have taken up this issue of students and have devoted time wherein they have discussed the paper leaks, what steps they have taken to address this issue, and what laws they have enacted. After sitting in government for 12 years, you realize after 100 of paper leaks, now Sanju comes here on television and say, look, there are certain issues, there are some laws are to be required. Who will make the laws? You are in the government, you have brute majority since 2014, and what you say is every now and then, and for a minute, it's not about Sanju, it's not about BJP, it's not about politics also. Just put yourself in the shoes of someone who has spent thousands and lakhs of rupees while preparing, while getting tuitions, waking up in the mornings. I have personally known people who have studied 18 hours, 19 hours for these kind of examination, and what they end up getting, suddenly they realize that the paper that they were preparing for 2-3 years, 4 years gets leaked. And imagine another devastating situation. This was the paper that was caught that this was leaked. Imagine people getting into the system by use of these leaked papers, which never became public.
Okay, but
imagine the plight
some rules have been brought in, but you're saying it's too little, too late. Sanju Verma.
You know, I did not want to politicize this, but since Kapil Madan has decided to bite the bullet and politicize it, let me just tell him one thing. Please don't say that paper leak mafia came into play from 2014. Very quickly. Your audience needs to know this. I have the audacity to acknowledge there's a problem, but I also have, the guts to tell that these systemic issues which are there will be resolved. But what about the Congress Party? 2004 CBSE, AIPMD paper leak. Who was in power? Congress. 2006 CBSE Class 12 accountancy paper leak. 2007 All India Engineering Entrance Exam paper leak. 2018 PMT paper leak. 2011 again AIEEE paper leak in Uttar Pradesh. 2012 ACE Entrance paper leak. 2014 Maharashtra HSC paper leak. During all these paper leaks, the government at the center was that of Manmohan Singh, that of the Congress Party. Aapne kya kiya? You have ruled India for 54 long years. You could not even...
But Sanjay, that's where the question comes in. In fact, the Prime Minister has also spoken about these paper leaks multiple times, and he has spoken about a responsible government. Where does that come in? And the truth is that you are in power now. You are the government now. So there needs to be some accountability. And this is not coming in from the opposition. Yes, opposition may be speaking about it, but even the top court of the country has pulled up the NTA asking, where is the accountability? Who is responsible for this?
And exactly, Pratibha, the government has time of 6 weeks to file its response by way of an affidavit, which I'm sure it will do. But your audience needs to listen to this also, that for the first time in independent India in 2024, the Public Examination Act of 2024 made it mandatory that academic misconduct on the part of a coaching mafia or paper leak mafia will be treated as a non-bailable, cognizable offence with imprisonment up to 10 years and a fine of up to 1 crore rupees. So I think laws have been put in place. They need to be executed and more systemic overhauling needs to be done. But to say Modi government has done nothing, I think that is stretching your imagination too far.
So, Mr. Sunand Bharti, comparing it with the previous governments, not much was done. At least now a few steps are being taken. Is that good enough for the students?
Pratibha ji, thanks for permitting me to speak. See, we need to be serious about what's going on. For last 12 years, BJP is at the center and with sort of brute majority. And they are now in 22 states. So barring 9 states, they're across the nation. Now with such power comes bigger responsibility. Now, what they have been doing so far, in last 10 years, 90 paper leakages, around 9 crore students got affected. Recently, in the NEET examination, 4 students committed suicide. Where is the seriousness? Now they have handed over to Indian Air Force to pick up the papers and to have it distributed. We all had learnt in childhood that only in emergencies, extra emergencies, we used to involve Army and Air Force and Navy. Now, even for paper, to have the examination conducted across the nation, we have to have Army and Air Force involved. What's going on? So where is the governance? They are not at all interested in doing any governance. I'll tell you something very serious, Pratibha ji. I'm in one of the cases in Delhi High Court. There is NTA has been challenged to show actual answer sheet of the student. NTA admitted in the court, they do not store, they do not keep actual answer sheet, that is OMR sheet with them. They only keep the scanned copies. And there is scam going on. What do? Every OMR sheet has two parts. One has got the personal information part, and second has got the OMR sheet actual one where they circle the answers. So the part where they circle the answers, that part get exchanged for money. So they have refused to send their soft copy of the answer sheets to forensic and get it examined. What more does the country have to know? There is a huge scam going on in NTA.
Okay.
And that is what is bothering each one of us in the country.
Okay.
Education Minister is not responding to the queries which the countrymen want him to answer.
Okay, so you're saying that there is a lack of transparency. While it has been brought in for transparency, that's not the case. It has opened up the floodgates for corruption. And Anish, these are the questions we students have raised as well on the issue of CBSE as well. The BJP says that, yes, there may have been some teething issues, but the intent is very clear. It is to bring in transparency. There may have been question marks on that, but the intent of the government was to make it digitized, to get in more transparency, and that is where the issue has come up, and the government is looking into it. Do you agree that the government has taken step towards it, or do you think that there has been a lot of mistakes and the government is still in damage control mode, whether it is saying that now the IAF will be brought in so that 18-year-olds can take their examinations, or whether it is also the issue of the government saying that reels are being made, CBSE, many principals have been asked to make reels regarding this. So is it more of damage control being done by the government, or are actual steps being taken?
Pratibha, to start off with, there is a problem. That problem is Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. On one hand, you can claim that this is a result of incompetence, right? That you messed up, that you could not put a system in place. But that's not an answer. This is not a primary school swimming competition that you get a participation certificate. You're the education minister of a country of 1.5 billion people. How often can this excuse be sort of rolled out? 2024, when the exam was cancelled, the NEET exam was cancelled, the education minister flatly denied that there was a paper leak. After that, the NTA chief was sacked. The CBI got involved. So clearly, either he was lying then or he was trying to avoid blame. Now, when this paper leak has happened, he has finally acknowledged that there has been a paper leak. But who are you going to fire? The NTA chief was only put in place a few months ago. The accountability has to start with the education minister. But the other more important problem is that the lives of 9 crore Indians have been compromised not only by incompetence, but by allegations of corruption. The CBSE sort of case has highlighted a contractual error and a contract given to a company that was blacklisted. These are serious questions. How can education minister not take any accountability? The government cannot behave like the opposition over here. You are taking the lives of students, turning it into a circus.
Okay.
What is this trial and error nonsense?
Okay, so the goal is to eliminate corruption, to have transparency, but Shaina NC, are these centralized examinations creating a single point of failure? Because a lot of anger is coming from the parents, and for them, this examination is very, very important. For the students, this examination is very important. When the opposition demands a resignation or accountability from the government, does this PR exercise look like defiance from the government? Shaina NC.
So my reply to everyone who's spoken, including my dear friend Mr. Gawande, let me please say that the government rolled out the tightest security after the NEET UG fiasco, if I may call it, on May 3rd, because the goal is to make breaches impossible. How does it start? It starts with introspection. When before have you had the Honorable HRD Minister coming out and saying that we have systems in place now, we have high-tech ID checks, we have AI-based facial recognition, digital KYC, which is mandatory, we have photo registration, so they're cross-matched. So even if people want to manipulate the system, they cannot. There's strict biometric verification, the fingerprints, all of these are in systems which are in place. If you have lacunas in the system, what do? You either say you're in denial mode, where you are going to just refrain from any kind of comment, or then say that yes, if there is any cheating at any center, there are 5G jammers installed which kill mobile data, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, any manipulation where somebody wants to cheat or fall into the trap of people who are promoting cheating. All of this is exposed because AI-enabled cameras, the scan where you have this 24/7, this means a foolproof system where breaches are impossible. A lot has been said by the opposition questioning why are they having so many measures? But why not? If you have mandatory measures which are in place, if you have zero tolerance when it comes to any kind of cheating or any enabling through smartwatches, what have you today, phones, earphones, calculators, Bluetooth devices, all of this needs to be nipped in totality. And for that reason, the government has acted so proactively. So to all the critics, I only want to say, heads have rolled, heads will roll, and will continue to be in the path to making sure that whenever you have these examinations,
all of this sounds very good when you say that there is a zero tolerance, when there is transparency, but we talk about very big things, including a 5 trillion economy and whatnot, but we are not able to conduct examinations for 18-year-olds. Professor Badrinarayan, is it not concerning that examinations, it has become tough to conduct examinations in the country, that questions are being raised on the very credibility of the education system in the country?
See, Pratibha, actually, you must have observed that, yes, problem has emerged. But you have seen that Education Minister is available everywhere, every time to respond to questions which are being raised. And he is working hard to resolve all the problems, and he is working hard to handle all the issues. So first thing. Second thing is, see, we have to fight against very strong coaching mafia who are very expert in doing that. And thirdly, this is very amazing that I remember there are a lot of paper leaks even pre-BJP period. But I have observed that this time there is a strong attack, targeted attack of Dharmendra Pradhan on social media, on various kinds of connected attacking networks. I raise question why it is happening. I think as political analyst, Pratibha, I have 2-3 points to tell about it.
Okay.
One is because Congress, who is attacking Rahul Gandhi, their entire educational philosophy, which were politically giving them, they say, the base, that was based on secularism and various kinds of perceptional basis.
Okay.
And because of the implementation of 2020 NEP, and Dharmendra Pradhan is working hard to implement it at the various levels, Congress is a bit, because it is going to take their base of knowledge, which cook political base for them. And so this Bharatiya kind of knowledge system which is emerging, this is against Congress, base of the politics. Secondly, you must have observed that Dharmendra Pradhan in various elections he got a kind of image that he works hard to give victory of the BJP in various states.
Okay.
And defeat of the Congress.
Okay. So I'll come to you in just a moment, but Kapil Madan, do you agree with that this is some sort of an targeted attack at Dharmendra Pradhan? It has more to do with Dharmendra Pradhan than the education system?
You know, Pratibha, let's get one thing very, very clear. And this is unpopular opinion, but I will call a spade a spade. I will address the elephant in the room. The opposition and social media is, completely besotted with the fact that Dharmendra Pradhan has to resign. Now, whether he resigns or not, once there is a cabinet reshuffle, whether he finds a place in that or not, that is the prerogative of one man. Who's that? Under Article 75 of the Indian Constitution, that man is the Prime Minister who heads the cabinet, Narendra Modi. Whether Dharmendra Pradhan will be dismissed or whether he will resign based on a moral high ground, that is not something which Rahul Gandhi out on bail in National Herald scam will decide. That is not something which is Sonia Gandhi.
No, but why make it about targeted attack on Dharmendra Pradhan? These are actual issues that have come out and people are talking about it. Kapil Madan, is it a targeted attack on Dharmendra Pradhan, as the BJP is saying, Osama is saying, that this is more about his resignation, not about the examination?
Now, first let me address Sanju, because she lied on a national television. She mentioned about National Herald case and said Mr. Gandhi is on bail. She does not know National Herald case has been quashed. It has been quashed. So let's come back. Let's come back and get your facts right. Do not lie on a national television just like that casually. Now, allow me to make my second point here to Sanju. Now, she mentioned it will be only the Prime Minister who will take a call whether Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan should continue or whether he should resign. I think it's the mockery. It's the biggest mockery, and it's a disrespect to crores of students who have been played with, whose future have been played with, and you are telling those students, and perhaps, some of those students might have been your voters also. You are telling them you are no one. Your career means nothing. We will decide, Honorable Prime Minister will decide whether Dharmendra Pradhan ji, who happens to be the Education Minister, whether, despite the fact that he acknowledges that there have been paper leaks one after the other, but students' demand will not be taken into account. It is only the Prime Minister whose will decide whether Mr. Pradhan will continue or not. I mean, there cannot be biggest mockery of this entire situation. That's all I have to say.
Okay, a mockery of the situation, Sanju Verma, not just on the claims that Kapil Madan is making, but also the fact that IF is being brought in, reels are being made. Does it give an indication? Do people end up feeling that the government is not taking the issue seriously enough? Because let me come to the issue of IF. There have been a lot of questions that have been raised on it, but more importantly, the question is the IF comes it. That itself raises some very serious questions. Should the IF even be brought in? But if the issue is of paper leaks, yes, the IF will fill it in, but that is not where the leaks have actually come from. It comes from the NTA. How will that be plugged if the IF comes in?
I will answer your very pertinent question, but I cannot allow a blatant lie to go unchecked on national television. Kapil Madan is lying. On the 3rd of October, 2025, the Delhi court asked the Economic Offences Wing to file a fresh complaint against
the complaint is quashed. The complaint is quashed. As of now, it stands quashed.
By the Economic Offences Wing. A fresh complaint has been filed against the Economic
Okay, we'll debate it another day. Sanju Verma, please come to the point of the questions being raised by the students. Because the students are waiting for answers. The IF, there are a lot of questions raised about it. And it's not just that. There are also many who are asking for CBSE as well. These videos that have now come out of principals who have made these reels, has it become about image management more than actually looking at the issue?
Pratibha, I want to just say one thing. Lot of questions have been asked about the vendor related to the CBSE re-evaluation. A company called CUET-UG Private Limited. I simply want to say this, that the tendering process was bona fide, but if a CBSE student called Sarthak Siddhant has written on his blog that there were discrepancies between the RFP1, RFP2 and RFP3, then those will be probed. I can assure that from your platform. And the second point I want to make is this. Rahul Gandhi, on the one hand you say CUET-UG is a tarnished company. I want to ask you a question. Bengaluru Central University in Raichur, where your Congress party is in power in Karnataka, has an agreement with this vendor. Kaloji Narayan Rao University in Telangana, where your CM Revanth Reddy is in power, has an agreement with this vendor. Then Karnataka State University in Dharwad, again has an agreement with this vendor. Telangana Institute of Technical Education again has an agreement with this vendor. मतलब तेलंगाना में ये वेंडर जब आप यूज करते हो तब सब चंगासी, कर्नाटका में आप ये वेंडर यूज करते हो तब सब चंगासी. But to get brownie points on social media, you say this vendor has been blacklisted, Why is Revant Reddy continuing with this vendor?
Okay, so you think the Congress party is in no place to ask these questions. Stay with us. Somnath Bharti wants to respond to this.
May I just add something?
Yes, Mr. Bharti.
See, the problem is first they need to admit that there is a problem. I mean, I'm just seeing Sanju ji has been continuously defending BJP's wrongs by taking us back to Congress's wrongs. If that is the response, then they are not seriously fixing these problems. You know, lakhs of scanned copies of CBSE papers, they are illegible. They can't be tracked. They can't be read. And they were all a student with no experience in hacking. He had hacked and he could change the marks. If I tell you, Pratibha ji, see the terms and conditions of the tender, they were so weakened so that they could favor their favorite vendors. And the responsibility of having a flawless examination is not at all being exercised.
Okay, and
see,
this
what is happening
has also come from a student. So, you know, there are some very serious questions that are being raised on the government. Of course, the Education Minister has said that he has taken the issue very seriously. The top court has also taken note of it. There's a lot more to talk about. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it at that because finally, it is the youth of the country, the students who are paying the price, and the buck must stop somewhere. I'm thanking guests for joining us on the broadcast, slipping into a quick break.